Mad Good Knicks Show preseason edition. I'm Far, that's Steph, that's TK, here to give you all the Knicks news all the time. Check us out on Instagram at Mad Good Knicks Show. Guys, preseason is completed. The regular season is afoot. The Knicks ended up 1-3. What were you happy to see? Let's just start it off that way. T, let's throw it over to you.
Most importantly, I was happy to see that they all made it out relatively healthy.
Yeah, that's big.
I think preseason, as you know, guys can get hurt and it can jeopardize the whole entire season from there. So I'm glad our guys made it out healthy.
Yep. In addition to that, most of the guys came out in shape, and a lot of them are performing individually like they projected they would earlier on in the season. So everyone's kind of, doing what they're saying they would.
I was happy to see RJ Barrett. And he looked all right. All right. I was happy to see that we selected number 3 overall pick, and he looks like a number 3 overall pick. Negatives. T. Actually, Steph.
Ooh.
Well,
gotta switch it up here.
Negatives, I would have to say that, again, not that great of team ball chemistry, again, that may develop over the season. Low count on assists. I know Julius Randle and DSJ are up there and are assist leaders, but overall, just that same kind of no assist, no team ball necessarily happening so far.
Give him some time to develop some chemistry.
I will.
I
prefaced it.
The negatives for me, clearly the point guard situation still seems very, very far
20
off
years
from
later.
20 years later.
And
So,
here we are.
Point guard situation as well as the rotation situation. Last year we gave Fizdale kind of a break. This year, unfortunately, I feel like we have to do as well, only because we got a new swap of players in there. But still, seeing no sort of set rotation kills me going into the season. So that's the negatives for me.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest negatives is point guard. Bar none. The fact that we have 3 point guards and none of them are clear-cut favorite. Now I'm hearing that Elfrid Payton was actually promised starting point guard, which is like,
oh no,
it's a rumor that I'm reading in the press. But I would hate for that to happen. But right now he kind of looks like
that doesn't sound like Fizz to me though.
One of the favorites.
Sound like Fizz.
It doesn't.
No.
So what were you most surprised by this past season or this past preseason?
To be honest with you, 100% honest here, I was surprised at how much better RJ Barrett looked in the preseason than he did in Summer League. I know he had taken off a couple of months, leading up to the draft and all that stuff from playing ball. So in the Summer League, he was a little rusty. But his game transitioned so much better to the preseason, hopefully leading into the regular season, than it did Summer League. And this is against the real dudes. These are against the 450 in the NBA, not some
And he himself looked like a real dude physically.
Yeah,
you saw
exactly.
Physicality was a big part of his game for sure.
Facts. I was to add on to that, bro. RJ Barrett, top 4 in points, assists, and rebounds on the team.
Awesome.
It's kind of crazy. It's very, very rare that you see a projections for someone coming out of college and it comes to fruition so early. We viewed him as that type of player where he's 6'6", he's long, he can defend, he can get some rebounds, assists, and points. He looks exactly like a prototypical basketball player. In addition to RJ, what I'm really happy about, what surprised me, is the fact that Marcus Morris and Kevin Knox are averaging about the same amount of minutes. Remember we were talking in the beginning how we were like, okay, Morris should start, but Knox should have the same amount of minutes. Fizdale is doing that, and I think it's more of an art that he has to kind of orchestrate that, but I think he's did it well in the preseason.
I agree.
2 things surprised me. One was the play of RJ Barrett, more so the minutes that he played.
He played a lot of minutes.
He was able to play 35, 30, 36, 39.
He's number 1, the most minutes.
That's a lot of minutes for a 19-year-old, and the fact that he could handle it with ease gives me so much hope for the type of player that he's going to be. It
was highly encouraging.
And then I'll also say what else surprised me was Frank Ntilikina. I mean, we got a bunch of segments coming up, but the support around Frank Ntilikina has surprised me. I have my own personal opinions about all of that, but we can talk about that later. Is your outlook more positive or more negative since the Summer League on the New York Knicks? I'll start this one. I know chemistry is a big part of it. We have to give Fizdale time because he's a New York coach. I feel like 1 year is usually all right, let's be impatient, but we can't do that.
Right.
I'm actually a bit more negative on the Knicks than I was before the summer, because it's kind of clear to me that the young players will need time. I think some of them will surprise us, but I don't think the veterans have what it takes on this team to really carry us through and be a really competitive team that we were hoping for around the 500 level.
That's fair. I'm about even keeled. I'm about the same. No more, no less.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, it's just confusing, the point guard. I would be a little higher on the Knicks if we had figured out a set situation for the point guard, but we haven't. So I'm just gonna keep my
20 years and counting, baby.
Even keel.
Yeah, to add on, same even keel. I didn't expect anything more, anything less. I knew we'd still have like point guard issues, assist problems, team ball problems. I knew we'd have the individual performers. We've been having that for the last several years. But again, just having that aspect missing is just kind of like a slightly of a letdown, but even keel.
Even keel. All right, well, guys, you let us know in the comments. What do you think? What were some positives, some negatives? What were you happy to see? What were you surprised by? Are you more positive or negative after seeing the 4 preseason games? We, of course, went 1-3 through the preseason. This season's going to be fun.
I hope
Mad
so.
Good Nick Show.
Oh, yeah.
So stay tuned.
What's up, guys? It's the wild card segment. Just kidding. It's not the wild card segment, but we are talking stats in a very informal manner.
Knicks by the numbers.
Knicks by the numbers for this preseason. So why don't I get started with just a pretty interesting stat all around?
Please do.
During the preseason, did you guys know that 7 players averaged double digits? How do you feel about that, Steph?
How do I feel about that?
Yeah.
Boy, I wish that happened during the season, but odds are, nope.
But does that tell you anything a little bit deeper about the team and how they play?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it tells you that, they're not selfish, but it's kind of interesting that their stats, their assist stats are pretty low, but they're all averaging double digits, which kind of alludes to my point that I said earlier, which is that, they're very good individual performers, but they should be able to tie that in somehow.
That's a very good point. And I think like that shows that there's room there for a superstar in there that's going to be in like the 23, 24 point range. Because right now, like we're capped at 17. Marcus Morris, good job though.
Preseason though.
Marcus Morris, Kevin Knox played the same amount of minutes as you mentioned before. Marcus averaging about 17 and Kevin Knox averaging about 10. Is that a fair distribution of their points? Do you think it's like should we keep this methodology for the rest of the season?
I think so, because when you look at their minutes, Marcus Morris plays maybe 2 to 3 more minutes more than Knox. I think he's averaging 25 minutes a game. Something that TK and I were mentioning at the start of the season, we'd like for Morris to start potentially, but only if Knox can, match those minutes. But the fact that, they are kind of equal play, points are a little different, but, that's just age difference.
Fair enough, fair enough. I was also surprised that Frank Ntilikina, RJ Barrett played the most minutes, 37 minutes.
Yeah.
Kevin Knox got good minutes. Actually, I was surprised Fizz gave a lot of the young guys a good amount of minutes. I think where I was surprised who didn't get a lot of minutes is Alonzo Trier. That's an interesting situation. I thought Iggy would get some more. But as far as playing time, even Frank Ntilikina got he was averaging about 20 minutes a game. But I was a little concerned by the fact that Frank was not even the top 5 in steals on the team in the preseason. I know you said steals aren't everything, but for being the top defender on the team, shouldn't you be at least registered?
Yeah, maybe you should at least register, but I think a good defender, there's more to that. There's more intangibles than just steals. I mean, it's pressure that you put on the ball, it's closeout defense, it's help defense, it's having that wingspan, it's not necessarily having the steals. But I do see your point that, it might be different. He might be one of those types of defenders where he's not a physical attacking defender, but he'll stop you in your tracks.
Okay. So, Julius Randle, he's second in the team in points, leads the team in rebounds at 8.0 a game, and leads the team in assists, tied with DSJ at 4.5, right?
Yeah.
Now, I expected him to lead the team in rebounds. I kind of thought he would be the leading scorer. Marcus Morris is really showing out here.
Yeah,
but
you can't do everything.
But how do you feel about the fact that at 4.5 assists per game, he's our leading assist man, that our point forward is leading us with assists, and it's not even a high count?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Joakim Noah when he averaged 7 assists for us. I mean, it's cool. It's great to have a big man who can average that amount of assists, but I'd be cool if we had a point guard who was at least averaging 6 or 7 assists. We need that next bump, and it can't be a center. It needs to be a playmaker averaging 6 or 7 assists to at least have some sort of thing happening.
You know who averaged about 7 to 8 assists a game? Alfred Payton.
Oh, my guy. Please show out.
All right, guys, so that's been Knicks by the Numbers, a little bit of a preseason summary of what's been going on. Any comments, just you know where to write them.
Down below.
No, your face does.
Gotcha. What's up, guys? Your boy TK here. We got Pete and we got Jay over there. Don't go over there.
Don't
As
go
you guys
over
know
there.
from previous segments.
I love that shit. Oh,
Yo,
Lordy.
we're going to be talking about RJ Barrett, right? With the number 3 overall pick. Did we get our guy or what? Jay, let me start with you.
Oof. We did get our guy because I think one of the most important things besides talent is availability. And guess what? That number 1 pick is not available.
Damn.
Personality.
Get well soon, bro.
Oh, we're talking about RJ. Yeah, got it.
Pete, what you think?
Is he our guy? I want to say he's a guy, but he's not the guy. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
But in the era of like NBA duos, that might not be a bad thing. I think to some degree, for the amount of hype he's gotten, he's kind of lived up to it.
Okay.
I love the fact that he's an all-arounder. You know, he's like, I don't want to say LeBron, but like the LeBron school of points, assists, rebounds.
Okay.
I'm going to do it all.
I'm with you. Complete.
And which I really, really like. And like you mentioned before, I really like the fact that he's clearly improved since Summer League. Something that we've been waiting for Frank to do since 2 Summer Leagues ago.
But I
Still
think
hasn't really happened. So
right.
that's positive.
it's a
too.
completely different mental game and a mental aspect for them both.
It is, yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%. One's coming from a different country, right?
Yeah.
So to tag along with what you guys said, the positives for me.
They're both coming from a different country, technically.
Technically, you're right. Okay, sorry guys. He is
North
Canadian,
America!
but he did play college ball here in the
True,
States.
true,
Okay,
true.
so we'll give him that.
He duked
We'll give
it
him a
out.
pass.
North America's one
So,
country.
The positives for me, the main thing that I was looking for, aside from being an all-around player, was his development, like you said. So from what we saw in the Summer League, when everybody got down on him in the first 2 games, you saw memes of, well, Trae Young did this in his first 2 games. He was struggling. RJ will be okay. He was. In the final 3 games, he really proved it. So coming into the preseason, I don't think the hype was as high on him as it was coming into Summer League. But he
didn't
really
get
proved.
any votes for the
Exactly.
predicted Rookie of the Year.
Exactly.
I think one of the smartest things I have to say about RJ and seeing him and watching him play is the fact that unlike most other rookies, he's not necessarily trying to explode to the basket, which is something that I prefer to see in a player. However, I admire when a player's smart enough in terms of how they're going to utilize their body, and he's smart enough. The shot is not falling right now. His shot selection, I continue to say, is there. However, his rhythm is not there yet. I think it's going to come.
That's fair.
It's going to come.
Pete, what are some negatives that you got for him?
Well, just to touch off what you said, that like Zion Williamson, John Morant obviously have a lot of hype around him. I think it worked in his favor that everyone kind of forgot about RJ Barrett. Probably worked in his favor to make him a little more comfortable. But the negatives I see is something with, it's in contrast to players like John Morant and Zion Williamson. To me, like just right off the bat, they seem more mentally acute to be those guys right now. Like John Morant
Like
has
killer
this-
instinct, you're saying?
not necessarily killer instinct, but like John Morant's swagger on the court and the way he moves, like gives me confidence on him just on like an eye test. But I think that's something that can certainly develop. Like I think RJ has given the negative there. I think is that potentially, and you see glimpses of that like when he was driving hard to the basket on like a one-on-one fast break. He hesitated there and he got blocked, and I think a shooting guard of his talent, his position, should be able to take anyone on a one-on-one fast break.
I
At least
think he
get to
can.
the
I
basket.
think that was just a one-off situation, to be honest.
And if anything, he protects his body and protects the ball very
well for-
when he
for
actually
a
gets
19-year-old.
down there to the basket.
agree.
He's pulling honestly some like old school tricks that a veteran player would understand in terms of how to protect their body.
I agree.
No,
I
his
have
game
one
is more
negative
polished.
for you.
His game is more polished than I thought it would be. At
Oh,
this stage of
Hands
the
down.
game.
Yeah.
But it's those things. If I'm looking for a negative, I'm looking for one right
And
now.
also-
I
at his
have
age.
a negative for you that you guys haven't covered yet, right? And that's his shooting stroke. He's taken a lot of jump shots, a lot. And like you said, the shots are there.
Yeah,
right?
the
They're
shot
good
selection's
shots.
there, yes.
They're good shots. They're just not in rhythm
Yeah.
with what he's got going on now.
Yeah.
And that may be for the fact that he kind of reworked his jump shot. Remember coming into the
that's
draft and all that
definitely
stuff?
gonna play a
He
part, for
reworked it. So his shot's not really there. To be honest with you, if he had a jump shot, this guy's a clear-cut best prospect in all of that draft. Easily.
It would be great.
Yeah.
Easily.
And you know, it could be so much of jump shooting is mental, and you know that. You've seen like great players like Steph Curry get into slumps that they have to break out of just through shooting. And I think maybe a lot of that, like not being able to drive to the basket, not making shots, is a mental thing. Like once he has the confidence to really truly be his assertive self, he'll be taking those jumpers without thinking so much.
Yeah.
He'll be driving to
Maybe
the basket
yeah.
and like working off instinct. So I'm feeling like as he gets more comfortable, that polish is going to come out more. So I'm, the negative, I think is not a negative that's like
Long-lasting?
fatalistic.
Yeah, I agree.
I have to
Guys,
say,
go ahead, really quick.
no, you go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna need some stat predictions.
Then I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
So no, I was gonna say, since we're
brief.
already thinking future, I think for this coming season, potential stat line for RJ Barrett, we are going to look at 17.2 points.
Ooh.
We are going to be looking at 6 rebounds, and we will also be looking potentially at 5 assists.
Oh God,
Wow.
that's rookie of the year numbers. Go ahead.
Me?
Because I think he's gonna get it.
I'm at 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists a game.
That's fair. I think he gets rookie of the year because Zion's not going to be there for the first 2 months. I'm going to go with 16.8 points,
Wow.
6 rebounds, and 4 assists.
That's very
That's
close.
damn
to
near the same as mine.
I didn't say I disagree.
points.
I didn't say I disagree.
You picked around his preseason stats. I picked slightly lower. You picked slightly higher.
Yeah.
That's
Perfect.
it. What
All
more
right.
can you like?
One of us is
I
gonna
guess
be right.
on that
What
note,
more can you want?
We're just gonna have to piece on out of here.
On that note, RJ, good luck.
Good luck, man. Stay healthy. That's
We'll
most
see you
important.
around, all right, brother?
Later.
Yo, what up, guys? So my 2019-2020 prediction, I'm going to have to go with 25 and 57. One of the main reasons is because every other year I overestimated and I failed. So now I'm going to keep it low bar. The reason being is because, again, I still see no point guard in our future just yet. No playmakers, no ball movement that's going to be really pushing us to be a playoff contender. So I'm just going to keep it at 25, 57 next year.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, record prediction, as many of you guys know, I kind of predicted it last year. I predicted 23 wins last year, and the Knicks ended up with 17. So this year, I'm going to go a little bit higher. You want to probably bet on me. 30 wins with 52 losses. So why do I think that's going to happen? The Knicks are probably going to start off really hot. The veterans are going to play well. The rookies will have some time to grow. And then we're probably going to trade off some guys. We're going to do that thing where we start off hot and then just tank, because that's the Knicks. My record.
So it kills me right now that Far and I already look alike, because sometimes we tend to think alike. I predict that the Knicks are going to do 31 and 51, 1 win above what Far thought. My thought process was that we're going to almost double the wins from last year. That would be 34, but a little bit under from actually just doubling up on the wins from last year. So again, my prediction is 31.
I don't think we look alike. And would you just Price is Right me?
Kinda.
Yo, what up, Mad Good fam? My season prediction, I'm going to go with 28 and 54. And here's why. I think they're going to get more wins than last season just because they have more talent, but I don't think it's enough to get them more than about 10, 11 more wins than last season. I think if any injuries happen, that's really going to hurt us. So I don't have much of an expectation. I think the lack of ball movement is still going to be an issue. 28-54.
Yo, what up, guys? TK here with the record prediction. I have been absolutely bamboozled and hoodwinked before in the past. But I know what you guys are thinking. That's not going to stop me this year. I am going to go with 33 and 49. I think I'm the most optimistic of the guys. Ask me in about a month if I still believe that, because I'll probably change my mind. But 33 and 49 sounds about right. They're going to win almost double what they did last year. And I can't really justify it because I'm not 100% sure that that's going to happen. I may just be optimistic here.
Alright, what's up, guys? Bar, Jay, TK. We've been talking about this for 20 years. It's the battle of the point guard for the New York Knicks. It seems like Summer League came and went, and we still really don't have a legitimate point guard. Let's start the conversation with the most polarizing figure, Frank Ntilikina. TK, you were thoroughly impressed with the way that Frank ended his preseason. Talk to me about
Absolutely was. Before I get into that, I know we're pressed for time here, but Jay, why don't you stay a while? Take your jacket off. Have a good time, brother.
No, I think where the mic is.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming. So back to Frank. Frank thoroughly impressed me, more so than his play, but was his attitude, his mental makeup. You can tell that playing in France, not playing in France, but playing for France over the summer really helped his awareness level on the court. I think being surrounded by a lot of the vets over there kind of helped calm his game down, and it was a reflection of what he did in the preseason. I'm a huge fan of Frank now. Going forward, like, dude, just keep it up. Just keep working hard.
I think
It's not like
TK
anybody
at
else is
times
busting ass.
I think TK, with all due respect, he's easily impressed at times, and he gets very attached to a lot of the players.
That's fair.
I am still very vocal against Frank, to be honest. I understand his defense is amazing amongst the 450 players that we have in the NBA. However, I am not justifying. What pick was he? Number 7? 8? A number 8 pick, and the man can only score how many points?
Not
on
even
average?
5.
Not even 5? Get out of here.
But does everybody that has to be in top 10 have to score like that much?
I think
should,
they need to at least
yeah.
score 10.
Score
you know,
at least,
I think in your third year, I think it's acceptable to
How old is he,
expect
21?
Frank to
He's
score.
21 now,
10.
and we see
on,
him
guys.
getting more and more confident, and that's great and all.
The only upside right now I see for Frank is I'm in your boat, and I've shifted because I used to be a big Frank supporter, and I've kind of moved towards Jay's boat. But the fact that RJ Barrett can handle the ball, that would be a pretty awesome backcourt to see in a couple of years with RJ and Frank, and that's a lengthy backcourt.
Oh, it is.
Which is what I love.
Absolutely.
But let's actually talk about who you think will get the starting position. So we kind of have ruled out Frank. It's between DSJ.
I don't even
and
know why this is a
Alfred.
discussion. It's DSJ.
Ugh.
Really?
DSJ is going to start. He has the most writing on him. I think, actually, though, to Fizz's point, it's going to be very fluid throughout the whole season. So I don't think anyone is going to be a constant starter except for potentially Julius Randle, Mitch. But I think at the point guard position, throughout the whole season, there's going to be a continuous rotation starting the game.
Go ahead.
I mean, DSJ showed me absolutely nothing in the preseason, bro. For him to start, that would be. I mean,
And you think
granted-
Frank showed you more?
No,
absolutely.
but
Frank showed me more than DSJ.
I'm talking about
DSJ is not even in game shape.
DSJ was still.
He's not even in
starting
game
point
shape.
guard
He
right
was.
We're talking about starting point guard.
I mean, he
so-
looked
So
extremely
it's between
rusty.
DSJ and Alfred Payton. I'd say for DSJ, he still plays like he needs to be the leading scorer on the team. Like, yo, just hop on for the ride and facilitate. Like, that's what I need DSJ to do, and he's not doing.
You know
If we're
why
talking
that
about
didn't work out, though?
facilitating, it's Peyton.
I'm talking about starting point guard.
I brought up this point on Twitter, right? And I watched DSJ's first game back, and you know, where it was just him and Frank getting the minutes.
Yeah.
When Alfred sat out, DSJ is so commonly used to, which is fair as a point guard, when a rebound happens or an inbound pass, the point guard touches the ball first and brings the ball up the court, right?
He doesn't know how to fill a lane.
He doesn't know how to fill the lane. He's not used to that. He's playing off the ball. We have 5 guys on the court, if you're not including Mitch, who can bring up that ball.
Yeah.
Julius Randle got the rebound, and more often than not, he's the one that
he's
brought
really
it up.
a point forward
So,
as of late.
so DSJ was looking for the ball, and he was kind of just running like, oh, well, where do I go? Where
So
do I go?
Both of their contracts have been extended, Frank and DSJ. So we
Yeah.
have them through next year. Alfred Payton, it seems like by default, will be the starting
I
point
agree.
guard.
By default,
until
Alfred's the starter.
Dennis Smith Jr. learns to play
Within
the
the- yeah,
team and
I
within
agree.
the system. Now, the Knicks just got the number 3 overall pick, who can kind of bring the ball up the floor. You remember last time that happened to DSJ.
Yeah.
He got Luka.
He got Luka.
And he's about to get RJ if he doesn't step his game up. Mad love, no disrespect for DSJ, but we need to see more of the team dynamic. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Who should be the Knicks starting point guard? It's the MAGA Knicks show. 20 years later, no point guard.
Ouch.
Hey guys, welcome back to another segment. This time around, we're talking 3, 4, 5. Small forward, power forward, center.
Yes.
But let's work backwards. Why don't we start at the center position? Mitch versus Bobby. This is going to be a duel, I think, for the entirety of the season. So why don't I start with you, Jay? Where do you stand on that?
I think Mitch is an amazing player that's going to start, and Bobby's going to do a great job backing him up.
Okay. Counterpoint.
All right, mine's going to be a little more in depth than that.
Thank God for that.
So
I mean, I'm not sure in terms of the question that was
I love
proposed
it.
at the
Love it.
moment.
It was a Jay answer. That's what we want on the MAGA Knicks show.
So what do you think about Mitch and Bobby? I think they're going to do a good job. One starting and one coming off the bench.
I'm saying, who's your center?
Obviously, Mitch. But
Okay.
what's the question?
Counterpoint. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So, yes, for me, obviously, Mitch is the go-to guy.
Yeah.
The reason I will add Portis into that conversation potentially is because, on average, Portis is averaging more points and is more effective on the field goal percentage side statistically than Mitch is. But this is what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe throughout the season, Portis is older. He's 4 years in. He's more of like a veteran-ish type guy.
Yeah.
I think he could be more consistent throughout the season, but I think that Mitch will have more breakout nights throughout the season.
I think the only challenge for Mitch is the foul trouble. If he can stay out of foul trouble, we're going to see those numbers go up in scoring. And I'm sorry, Portis can't hold nothing on Mitch. He can't even shoot a damn three. Thank God you did it in preseason.
I agree though.
Let me play devil's advocate here. Now, you guys.
He did it well last season.
Well, we said opposite.
But I didn't see it on the Knicks uniform.
You guys are both saying Mitch, which, like, when I first thought about this, I said, of course it's Mitch. We got to develop our young guy. Then I kind of looked at the preseason stats, which don't tell the whole story, but it's just interesting to note that Mitch averaged 19 minutes, Bobby averaged 28. So it's about 10 more minutes. But in those 10 minutes, he more than doubled his point production, and he got more assists, and he got more rebounds. So as far as being like an effective offensive player, Bobby Portis has shown that given the same amount of time, he'll do more offensively. Now, we can pitch that up to the fact that he's 4 years into the NBA, whatever.
Yes.
But something that my brother said that I thought was interesting, that even though Bobby Portis right now looks like a better offensive player, I think in moments, Mitch could affect the game more.
Yeah, and
whether it's like a block in a critical moment,
yes, and the
or
transition,
just putting pressure on the perimeter player.
The transition.
So I'd like to see this play out more from Mitch. So I think we got to do the same. Marcus Morris, Kevin Knox. Let's split their time and then like make a decision down the road.
Portis to me is a half-court player. That's what I see in Portis. Mitch is going to affect it in a defensive way that, of course, will help run our transition well.
100%. And also, just one more thing to say, I think this is where Fizdale really needs to step in and start to orchestrate Portis Mitch. He could do a lot of things.
Exactly, and that's back to TK's point about rotations. Now let's move on to Julius Randle.
Yeah,
positives
our
and
point
negatives.
forward, baby.
What do you guys think about our new point forward?
I think it was amazing to see in the preseason how a lot of the inbounding, it was him just bringing up the ball immediately to start the game. It wasn't our point guard starting the game. It was Julius Randle starting and setting the tone for the game of how we were going to be in that game.
Yeah.
It's something that I loved about it. I think we're going to see, obviously, the time split between Randle and Gibson. And I got to say, I saw some amazing things from Gibson in the preseason.
Yeah,
he was very dominant.
Decent stats.
He's in shape,
Dominant.
man. He's in shape,
and
bro.
in shape. Thank you, Steph.
He's
Take
ready
it away
to
from
play.
there.
No, he's ready to play. Taj Gibson, 100%, man. Julius Randle, he's a bulldog. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yes.
He's taking it from the wing. He's driving down, backing guys down. He's putting his strength all into the game. The one thing is that sometimes he can take it a little overboard. In certain instances, I've seen him do that. At that point, the Pelicans game. At that point, I think the team should kind of include themselves more in that offense. If he's bulldogging down, they can cut and slash. But, I mean, listen, his aggression can't beat that.
Well, he did find RJ Barrett cutting for that amazing highlight reel that we have of RJ.
That was amazing.
I continuously say he's not that explosive, but when he has the open lane like that and Randle is finding him, woo!
Oh, yeah.
And something, just to kind of quickly jump on Steph's point. Julius Randle, when he actually had an interview here with the Mag and Nick show and Farr was interviewing him, he remembers his bread and butter is him being in the post. I want to say he has stretched his game to the three-point line. He had 3 threes in a row the other evening. It's amazing to see, but he's still very conscientious of what his bread and butter is. So,
totally agree with you guys. I think Randle is probably the most skilled guy on our team right now. Just raw talent. Probably going to be the leader of the team this season. I'm starting to feel that.
Yeah.
But with the negatives, I do agree. Maybe a little bit overboard. Maybe it's not his fault. Should he be the leading assist man on our team? Point guard troubles. But
Joakim Noah was a few seasons ago for the Bulls.
I got to move on from there.
He was.
Number 3, our number 3 guy, Kevin Knox. Do you guys feel like Kevin Knox can carry an offensive burden this season?
No, not at this moment.
No.
His body's still not built for it. I think he needs a few more seasons under him. I think he is one of the pure shooters on the team, but he cannot carry the burden right now.
I agree. He's definitely looking a little crispier this season. He's looking a little bigger, but big enough to take that burden? I don't think so. Again, I think his shot can improve. It has improved. And I think that, he could be more of like our go-to shooter. I'm looking at him in kind of that sort of light.
I'll ask you guys a question. Do you feel Kevin Knox and RJ's body types, do you feel like RJ, his body type, it can handle a little bit more of the physicality?
Hell yeah.
In the eye test, I see that.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but Kevin Knox body type can be that like crazy Tayshaun Prince player where he can do things that no one else can.
Just
do.
a quick question.
Anyway, I agree with you guys. I think he's one tier below RJ, but we'll see what happens this season. That's been 345. Thanks for joining us.
5-4-3.